Sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply watching someone bury themselves with their own arrogance. My name is David Chen, and this is how my pompous brother-in-law finally discovered that looks can be dangerously misleading, especially in the cutthroat corporate arena. I never warmed to Mark Thompson from the first moment my sister Emily brought him home 6 years ago. He was everything I deliberately chose not to be: loud, ostentatious, and completely obsessed with image. As a mid-level sales manager at Apex Dynamics, one of the biggest tech conglomerates in the nation, he never passed up a chance to flaunt his title or belittle anyone he considered beneath him. But let me take you back to the start. I walked out of Stanford with dual degrees in computer engineering and business administration. While my classmates raced toward shiny offers at hot startups, I had my own roadmap. I wanted to master a company from its foundations, starting at the very bottom. So I accepted a night shift security officer position at Apex Dynamics itself. "You're throwing your future away," my parents warned. "David, you could be earning 200 grand right now," Emily pleaded. They didn't understand. I did. On those quiet graveyard shifts, I absorbed everything. I memorized the names of the janitors, mapped the cleaning crew's patterns, and most crucially, observed how every department really functioned once the executives thought the building was empty. A company's true soul reveals itself after dark, when the masks come off. Then Emily started dating Mark. To our traditional immigrant parents, he was the golden ticket. Successful, driven, and most importantly, he carried a fancy title: Regional Vice President of Sales at the very same Apex Dynamics where I wore a security badge. Their wedding was pure Mark. Extravagant, over the top, engineered to dazzle. He made sure half the C-suite was invited so everyone could see how connected he was. I sat quietly at the family table, watching him work the room. "And what do you do, David?" a senior VP asked politely. Before I could open my mouth, Mark jumped in with that booming laugh. "Oh, David here, he's one of our security guys. Make sure the doors stay locked and the coffee machine doesn't walk away, right, buddy?" The room chuckled politely. I just smiled and raised my glass. I had a long game, and it was unfolding exactly as planned. While Mark climbed the ladder through country club handshakes and endless schmoozing, I was quietly dissecting the entire organization. On every shift, I wrote exhaustive reports. Inefficiencies I spotted, security gaps, process improvements, cost-saving ideas. I submitted them through the company's anonymous employee suggestion portal. Gradually, changes started appearing: new access protocols, streamlined logistics, supply chain tweaks that saved millions. The CEO, Jonathan Reeves, grew obsessed with this mysterious genius, feeding him gold from the shadows. To my family and Mark, though, I remained just the guard. Every holiday dinner became a public execution. The Christmas rite after Mark's latest promotion to senior VP was classic. We were all seated at my parents' dining table when Mark, flushed with his own importance, raised his glass. "You know, David," he announced loudly, "we've actually got an associate sales rep opening coming up. I could pull some strings for you. Better than standing around in that uniform all night, am I right?" Emily laughed awkwardly. "Mark, come on." No, I'm helping," he insisted. "Family looks out for family. I mean a security guard. Where's the drive, man?" Mom stared at her plate. Dad tried to switch topics. Mark kept going. "Seriously, what do you even do? Watch Netflix on the monitors? Patrol empty hallways?" "Riveting stuff." I took a calm sip of wine. "It keeps me observant," I said quietly. Mark snorted. "Yeah, well, don't expect an invite to the 42nd floor anytime soon, unless you're checking the locks up there, ha." He had no idea I'd already spent dozens of nights on the executive floor, out of uniform, in private meetings with Jonathan Reeves himself, who was fascinated by the anonymous savant revolutionizing his company from the inside. What Mark also didn't know was that Apex Dynamics was heading into a seismic leadership transition. Jonathan Reeves was stepping down, and the board wanted a successor who knew the company inside and out, from the loading dock to the boardroom. 4 months after that Christmas humiliation, Mark swaggered into the annual executive strategy offsite. convinced the impending CEO announcement was his coronation. He'd been assured he was the frontrunner for Chief Revenue Officer, maybe even more. The room was packed with every heavy hitter in the company. Mark took his seat near the front, adjusting his Hermes tie and flashing confident nods to board members he thought he owned. Jonathan Reeves stood up. Before we dive into the agenda, I have the pleasure of introducing the individual who will succeed me as Chief Executive Officer next quarter. Mark practically levitated. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Apex Dynamics' new CEO, David Chen. I walked in wearing a charcoal Brioni suit that cost more than Mark's monthly car lease. The expression on his face deserves its own wing in a museum. Confusion melting into recognition, then pure dread as the pieces slammed together. Many of you have already benefited from David's extraordinary contributions, Jonathan continued smoothly. His anonymous submissions over the past 6 years have saved this company more than $75 million and transformed how we operate. His unparalleled understanding of every layer of this organization makes him the ideal leader for our next chapter. Mark looked like he'd been punched in the soul. Several executives were now staring at me, then at him, then back at me, doing the mental math and realizing the rent-a-cop they'd ignored for years was about to become their boss. I took the seat at the head of the table. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm eager to get started. My gaze settled on Mark for just a second longer than necessary. The meeting dragged on, but Mark was a ghost. His polished slides stayed closed on his laptop. Afterward, he cornered me in the corridor, sweating through his dress shirt. David, bro, I had no clue, man. All those jokes, I was just messing around. We are family. I looked at him calmly. Are we? Because family doesn't spend years tearing each other down in front of parents and strangers. I can explain. No need, I said. Your quarterly review is scheduled for next Thursday. We'll talk then. His knees nearly buckled. Review? You're reviewing me? Of course. I'll be reviewing every member of the executive leadership team. Thoroughly. I walked away. The following Thursday, Mark entered my new corner office clutching a leather folder thick with charts and metrics. Before he could launch into his defense, I turned my monitor toward him. Let me show you something first. I played the montage I'd had the security team compile. Years of footage showing Mark screaming at interns, stealing credit in meetings, making crude remarks about female colleagues when he thought no cameras were rolling, bragging about expensing strip club visits. Every ugly moment the night shift guard had quietly documented. Numbers are fine, Mark, I said as the color drained from his face. Character is not. This company needs leaders who respect every single person who makes it run. Are you firing me? No, I replied. I'm reassigning you. We're opening a new remote sales hub in Nome, Alaska. Same base salary. You'll report directly to a director who started as a mailroom clerk 20 years ago and still remembers what humility feels like. He'll be an excellent mentor. Alaska, he choked. Emily's medical practice is here, our house, our friends. Then I suggest you update your resume. Transfer is effective in 14 days. Or you can resign with a standard severance package. Your choice. He resigned the next morning. Within weeks, Emily filed for divorce. The mask was off, and she finally saw the man she'd married. My parents, who once hid their disappointment that their son was only a security guard, now beam to anyone who will listen about their CEO son who earned it the hard way. Emily and I are closer than ever. She apologized with tears for every time she let Mark humiliate me without speaking up. Apex Dynamics is hitting record numbers. I rolled out a policy that every executive must spend 1 week per year in an entry-level role. Security, mailroom, warehouse, call center, whatever. We call it the Ground Floor Initiative. Security officers now rotate into strategy meetings. Their insight is priceless. Mark still sends the occasional LinkedIn message fishing for a reference. His career trajectory since resignation has been a steady slide. Regional manager at a mid-tier firm, then smaller firm, then smaller still. 3 weeks ago, HR forwarded me an application. Mark had applied for the exact junior sales position he once offered me as a joke all those years ago. The hiring manager asked for my thoughts. I thought about forgiveness. I thought about second chances. Then I thought about every intern he'd made cry, every woman he'd objectified, every colleague he'd thrown under the bus. I typed back, "Position has been filled." Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, patient, and looks exactly like justice. I still keep my old security uniform in a glass case outside my office. When I work late, I walk the empty halls and greet the night crew by name, no title needed. They salute me anyway. Last month, I overheard a new VP mocking a custodian in the cafeteria. I stepped out of the shadows, flashed my old badge, and invited her up to the 42nd floor for a chat. She didn't last long. True power isn't the title on the door. It's knowing that the person you're speaking to, whether they're wearing a janitor's jumpsuit or a security blazer, might just be the one signing your paycheck tomorrow. Mark taught me that, even if he never meant to. And every day I sit in the chair he once dreamed of, I make damn sure no one at Apex Dynamics ever forgets it.